Hello and welcome to the WriteCome.com podcast, where we help you to make money from your words. Each episode will be sharing tips, tricks, and strategies you can use to make more money from your writing, publishing, and marketing to your fans and audience. Let's get started with your host, Barry J. McDonald.
Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very welcome to today's podcast episode from WriteCome.com. And today's podcast episode is entitled Passion or Passion. Now, the other day someone had posted on my Twitter timeline, and they had said that 65% of authors sell 100 books or less in a year. Now that kind of caught me by surprise, and I responded to the person who tweeted saying that I was surprised it was, such a high number. I thought more authors would have been selling books. And the person had got back to me and they said, well, for those people, I assume, it's their passion. They're not really interested in the money. Now I want you to think about that for a moment. 65% of authors sell less than 100 books a year. Now if we did take 100 books in a year, that would say that person sells one book every 3 days. Now while those people probably had passion, they probably put time aside, they probably put maybe weeks, months, maybe years in some cases aside to write that book. How passionate are they that book did well? If I was really passionate about my book, I would be reaching out to platforms today. I would be buying ads on Amazon. I would be reaching out to people who had blogs with lists to see if they could maybe promote my book or help me out in any way. Or I'd be reaching out to Facebook groups. I would be buying Facebook ads. I would be trying as hard as I could to sell that book. But I'm sure, even if I was selling a book on cutting toenails, I'm sure I could sell more than one book every 3 days by putting in some work and putting some action in with selling that book. And what I find a lot of people is they claim that they have passion, but their actions don't actually stack up against it. It always surprises me sometimes when I get asked questions on Quora by people who are supposed to be passionate about writing, people who are passionate about online businesses, people who are passionate about blogging, and they will ask me the most mundane and simple questions that could be answered with either a YouTube search or, a Google search. How do I change my banner ad? How do I create a banner ad for my YouTube channel? How do I install a plugin? I want you to think about that for a moment. If you were passionate about blogging and about working with the WordPress platform, where would you go right now if you had a question that you needed answered? Now I'm sure if you were really passionate, I'm sure if you didn't have a penny, I am sure you would try and scour down as many free resources as you could right now. You would go on to Google, you would search how do I do such and such a thing with a plugin, or how do I make my blog look like this, or how do I do this. Or you would go over to YouTube and you would go through video after video after video and you would try to find answers to your questions. And it always amazes me, when people say that they are so passionate and yet they won't actually do something as simple as a Google search or a YouTube search, or just, take any type of action. If they would like their book to sell well, go ahead, buy some Amazon ads. I don't know how to do Amazon ads. We'll go over to Google and do a search and find out how people are setting up their Amazon ads, or go over to YouTube and see how someone sets up an Amazon ad or a Facebook ad, or, where can I go to do this and sometimes it really boggles my mind for all these people that are so claiming to have such a passion and that aren't even willing to do the least amount of work. I'm not putting myself on a pedestal, but for me to get into blogging many years ago, I hadn't got a clue about WordPress. Never had a clue about anything like that. Didn't have a clue about HTML, didn't have a clue about JavaScript, didn't have a clue about any of those things. But if I had a problem, I always went to Google, I would look up the answer, or I would have went to YouTube, or I would have went into forums where people had asked that question. And sometimes I spent hours and hours looking for a solution to my problem. And because of doing that over time, slowly I built up a knowledge of WordPress, and slowly I built up a knowledge about how to upload YouTube videos, or slowly I got the information on how to create a podcast. But I went and I scoured out that information and I did my homework. I found, sometimes it took me hours to find a solution to something that could, that would only take 5 minutes, but I couldn't find the answer, and I went and looked all over the place. So if you are someone who is claiming to have passion, does your actions actually match up with the passion that you have? No, do you have passion or do you have passion? Some people will claim, oh, I am a fan of such and such a band, and they'll have all the albums, they'll have all the records. But yet, if they were so passionate about that band, I assume if somebody was really, really passionate, wanted to see that band, they would jump on a jet today, if it was possible to travel with COVID, but they would travel wherever they could to see that band performing live, or they would do whatever it took to, to improve themselves. One thing I always laugh about, it always comes back to my mind, it's always in the back of my mind, it was something that Bob Proctor had said many, many years ago, and it was something that he had said about a seminar he was doing, and it was to a group of people who are looking to improve themselves. And he said he used to always make him laugh when people say, oh, Bob, where's your next seminar on? And he would say, oh, it's over on the east side of the city. And a lot of people would say, well, Bob, it's too far to travel, it's hard to get to, and it's too difficult, and if you'd done it on the west side of the city, well then, it'd be better for me, and then I would go then. But these people would claim that they were passionate about self-development, they were passionate about improving their lives, but they weren't willing to go to the other side of the city to get an answer to something that could probably turn their life around. But as Bob said, he would walk across the continent if he could get information from someone that could change his life. So I want you to think about what you are doing right now. If you have passion for what you are doing, is your actions actually, matching up? And if it's not, well then maybe you don't have as much passion as you do, or maybe you should be doing more homework. Maybe you should be finding out how to, if you are someone who is in that 65% of authors who isn't selling 100 copies of your book, if you can't sell one book every 3 days, there's something wrong. You need to find how to do Amazon ads. You need to find out where somebody has a group of people that would be interested in buying your book, or you need to get in front of an audience that has a love of whatever subject you are writing out. Or again, some of those authors unfortunately did write on a subject that nobody is interested in, but I'm sure, passionate as all as they were, they probably never went back and wrote that second book or that third book. But again, if they were passionate, they would sit down, they would write book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5, but they are only limited in their passion to only writing one book. So as always, if you'd like to reach out to me, you can certainly send an email to barryjmcdonald@gmail.com, or if you are passionate or you would like to get passionate about writing or self-publishing, if you want to head over to Writecom, I have 9 great free reports over there on the moment that should help you out with any questions you might have. So if you want to head over to Writecom, that's WRITECOME.com, you'll find the content all over there on the homepage. So as always, take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more from the Writecom.com podcast, be sure to subscribe now for more tips, tricks, and ideas you can use to make more money from your words. See you in the next episode.